What's up, guys? Good to see you and welcome to day 12 of the 21-day war on sugar. This is one of those days where things are just way too crazy for me to run my normal everyday vlog. Carly's out running errands. I've got to watch Paxton. I've got 2 consultations, 1 coaching call, and a podcast today. So instead of vlogging, I'm just going to do a quick fire Q&A. I've kind of built a long list of questions that you guys have, and I want to give them answers. First question is obvious. How old are you? I am 36 years old, born September 30th, 1981. Do you have any siblings? Yes, I have a younger brother named Justin. He is 32 years old. He lives in Naples, Florida. He's in the medical industry. He is a soccer coach and a very, very cool guy. Where did you grow up? I grew up in Westchester, Ohio, which is a suburb of Cincinnati, Ohio. I went to a high school called Lakota West. I had an awesome childhood. I had tons of friends. I loved the area I grew up in. There was a lot of stuff to do. My parents got divorced when I was 7 years old. But fortunately for me, my parents stayed friends. It was a super easy split. They were both very active in our upbringing. They communicated very well. And I'm just extremely fortunate for how they handled that situation and the lessons that they taught us about it. I love my parents very much, and I love Cincinnati very much. Did you play sports growing up? Yes, I played soccer, wrestling, and tennis. Ultimately, I had to choose one. So I chose wrestling. It was just the one I was best at of the 3. Fortunately, I was able to pick tennis back up later in life. I played a lot of tennis while I lived in Atlanta, won 2 city championships in the Alta League. Tennis is probably by far my favorite sport, but I do love soccer. I loved playing soccer growing up. In fact, my brother still is involved in soccer, and he is a soccer coach down in Florida. Where did you go to college? What did you study? I went to Ohio University, which is in Athens, Ohio, known for their huge Halloween celebrations. It's pretty much a party school. I'm lucky I got out alive. While I was there, I studied business and communications and graduated with a bachelor's degree in communications, and it only took me 5 years. How much do you weigh? I weigh, believe it or not, 150 pounds, I think, is what I weighed last time I checked. I don't check my weight ever. Funny enough, most people think I weigh 170, 180 when they see me on the internet, when they see me in person. So I just kind of know it's all relative. I do not stress about my weight whatsoever. And that's going to lead into this next question, which is, what is your body fat percentage? My body fat percentage, the last time I checked, was 5.2%. That was at the beginning of the 4,000 calorie 21-day challenge. See Lola? Lola weighs 2 pounds and she's got like no body fat percentage. But anyways, I do not obsess over my body fat percentage either. I essentially walk around at 5, 6, 7, probably at the most body fat percentage. I'm very genetically gifted, I should say, in that department. I can build muscle very easily, keep my body fat very low. I do not do anything extreme to stay down that low. It's just, I guess, the way my body wants to be. What motivates you? That is a very good question. Seeing other people be successful motivates me. I like being a part of other people's journey. I like knowing that I'm able to help people reach their goal. I get a tremendous amount of satisfaction out of that. Just seeing people who have probably given up hope before find something that allows them to discover themselves and find success and happiness. And then ultimately, paying that forward, because I know when I'm able to help somebody's life, if I can go the extra mile and get them in a position where they can then go do what I just did for them, it's a huge network effect. It spreads a lot of positivity and it just makes me happy. Why do you do keto? I do keto because I've tried absolutely every diet on earth leading up to this. The ketogenic diet is just a simple way for me to be on a diet without feeling like I'm on a diet, just putting it plain and simple. It's so easy for me to follow. It makes so much sense. I actually enjoy the cognitive benefits more than like the physical benefits. Like I said before, I can get away with eating carbohydrates and be fine. I'm never gonna get fat. But when I switched to burning fat for fuel instead of carbs, my mind was completely changed. Like, just having no energy crashes, cognitive performance, my mood was way more regulated, I slept better. There's just way too many benefits for me to ever go back. I literally feel like I found the holy grail of diets. Who is your keto inspiration? That is a good question. I have to say that Gary Taubes is my keto inspiration, even though he's not really recognized as being a keto figure. He wrote a book called Why We Get Fat that absolutely changed my life. Definitely opened my eyes into thinking less about calories in, calories out, thinking more and understanding more about hormones. He is not like a staunch proponent of the ketogenic diet, although he has spoken favorably of it. But I just think his research, he also wrote a book called The Case Against Sugar, which I'm reading right now. I just think his research, his willingness, like almost like a sacrificial lamb to go against big business and big government, question a lot of these crazy studies and a lot of the dogma that a lot of us have followed. I just find him to be like the leader in the low carb, high fat movement. What types of diets have you tried before keto? Well, the first diet I ever tried and the one I stuck with the longest was starvation during my wrestling career. It works, but it's not sustainable, and I highly recommend you don't do it. I carried that on with me into the fitness industry. Then I discovered Gary Taubes and learned about the low carb approach. And so then I went straight low carb, high protein, because at that time I was super worried about losing muscle, and everybody in the bros in the fitness industry are like, oh, you need 300 grams of protein, you know, so you don't lose muscle. So anyways, I followed the low carb, high protein route, felt like shit. But then I tried carb cycling. I basically tried a lot of different alternative methods to cutting carbs, because the truth is, if you want to lose weight, you want to get shredded, you just got to cut carbs. So I did regular low carb. I did carb cycling, where I would alternate between high carb days and low carb days. That worked out. It was a little more tolerable, but it did not, you know, work in the end for me. Then I tried carb backloading, which I do not recommend. That's essentially where you eat a bunch of carbs at the end of the day. The idea is you keep insulin levels under control the majority of the day. It works, but not for most people who are insulin resistant. And then I think that was it until I got into keto. I'm just starting keto today. Do you have any advice for me? First off, watch a lot of my old videos. I cover a lot of stuff there. I would just say embrace the fat. All right. I think the number one reason that people fail is because they just simply don't fully embrace the fat and understand that it's not actually going to kill you and clog your arteries, and that your body does need it. Cutting the carbs is one thing, but an easy way to do that is just to, instead of thinking about what you can't have, carbohydrates, think about what you can have, which is fat. Start exploring different food options in the world of fat. Try different nuts and cheeses and avocados and oils, and just keep your mind focused on that. Also, I will say, if you're starting out, be patient. It's very easy, because this keto thing's gotten so big, for people to see like crazy transformations. People like saying, yo, I grew wings and I can fly, and it gets your expectations up big time. And so I just caution you, it's just like any other diet. You know, you got to put the work in, you got to stay patient, and you got to stay consistent. The final thing I'll say is make sure you keep electrolytes up. Okay, this is a really good question. What do you think about the rise of the keto movement? I will say this, 3 years ago when I first started keto, I knew it was gonna be big because I just believed in the power of the diet and the truth behind it, but I had absolutely no idea that it would get this big. Like, it's pretty mind-blowing to see where it was 3 years ago compared to where it is now, in terms of how many people are talking about the diet, how many companies are selling products with the diet, how many success stories and transformations it's been a part of, how it's really transcended medicine, and it's now being used in research for cancer and Alzheimer's and diabetes and all that stuff. It really is crazy to think about. What is my favorite keto meal? Oh my gosh. I'd have to say one of my originals that I used to make which is just ground beef cooked in butter. It's the keto taco salad. Ground beef cooked in butter, some cheese, oh I miss cheese, sour cream, diced up avocado, and some salsa, all on a bed of lettuce. It's mwah. What is your favorite cheat meal? I'm a sucker for ice cream, believe it or not. I like sorbet a lot. So if I had to choose one, it would probably be ice cream. My favorite brand of ice cream is called Talenti, Talenti. They make an incredible coffee and chocolate chip flavor. How often do you measure ketones? So I do not measure ketones like on a scheduled basis. I just kind of, when I get the impulse that, hey, I wonder what my ketones are, or maybe I ate something I'm a little worried about, kicked me out of ketosis, then I will check. I do not get obsessive over it whatsoever. I make sure that I just use it as like a gauge. So if it's between, like if I'm testing blood, if it's between 0.5 and 3.5, I know that I'm good. If I'm testing my pee, if that stick turns any color red, I am good. I do not obsess over the level of ketosis that I'm in. I just use it as positive reinforcement to keep going. How many grams of carbs do you eat per day? So I track total carbs. My goal is 50 grams total carbs or less. I usually come in at about 30 or 40 grams total carbs. Do you drink energy drinks? No, hell no, I don't drink energy drinks. I think that is one of the worst things to ever happen to American society. Monster drinks, like all 50 different types, Red Bulls. Yo, guys, straight up, that shit's poison. If you look at the ingredient label, there's like 50 different ingredients in one can. Way too good to be true, completely wrecking your inside. I don't care if it says 0 sugar on it and 0 calories. I guarantee you it's still having a huge impact on your hormone levels. I know that they're addicting. Like I take a lot of pre-workout, and during this challenge, I found out that I was addicted to pre-workout. I know the energy drink thing is addictive. Try and kick it for just a few days. Try and cut back on it if you can, but I'm telling you, that stuff is wrecking you. Okay, this is a good question. How many keto coffees do you have each day? Being straight up and honest, I have 2 every single day. Sometimes I'll have 2 in the morning. And then, because I work out in the morning, so I'll wake up really early, I'll have a keto coffee, and then I'll have another keto coffee before I go to the gym a few hours later. Or I do also like that mid-afternoon keto coffee. So I would say 2 on average. Will I ever compete again? No, I definitely will not compete again. I'll get into this in a different video. Competitions played an important role in the beginning of my career. They were a good challenge. They were also a good way for me to get exposure, but they were also extremely unhealthy, and it was very, very political. And I just decided that like it wasn't the competitions that I loved. It was the competitions were a means to get where I wanted to be, which was in front of a lot of people and helping them out with their journey. So I stopped competing. It was also a very selfish thing. When you compete, man, you got to be super selfish. And now I'm more focused on helping people like you reach your goal. So yeah, I will never compete again. It's a ruthless game. And I'll be completely honest with you, I wasn't willing to play the game. There's a lot of politics that go in and like in the competition scene. There's a lot of drugs that go into the competition scene. And I finally kind of realized that like, I'm not willing to pay thousands of dollars for a trainer that's in with the IFBB. I'm not willing to do drugs. I'm not going to mess my health or my physique up just to place higher in a show. So I just said, hey, this is the writing on the wall. This all makes sense. I don't enjoy it anyways. I'm gonna go help some other people out. How many days a week do you work out? Probably on average 5. What is your favorite muscle to train? I would have to say chest. What is your least favorite muscle to train? Legs. What is your favorite book? I like questions like that. My favorite book? Holy cow, that's hard. I would say The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Fantastic book. If you guys haven't read that, it's freaking phenomenal. The other 2 that I really like is The Art of War and The Prince. Okay, last question. I get this asked a lot. What camera do I use? So right now I'm talking to you on the Canon G7X Mark II. It's a super small compact camera. There it is right there on my Joby tripod. It's got this little bendy flip screen so you can see yourself when you talk. The only downside to this camera is the audio is not that great. There is no external microphone. I also have to have this little thing called a dead cat, if you guys can see it there. That is to block the wind. I also use this right here. So this is a Lumix on another tripod. I just upgraded to this Lumix from a Canon 70D, which I used a lot. I like vlogging on this one. I just, for some reason, can't get the handle for, like, you know, it's so heavy and all that stuff. But the advantage to this is the external microphone. That is a Rode Mic Go. It cost $100. The audio quality is amazing on this. So when I like interview people, or I know I'm just gonna sit down and do a one-off video, I will use this. And then finally, we've got Mr. Mavic Pro. This is my drone. This thing is pretty badass. They just actually came out with a newer one that's actually even smaller. This is made by DJI. I'll tell you the truth, man, every time I fly this thing, I get so nervous. I don't know why. I feel like it's just gonna fall out of the sky, but it's a lot of fun. And finally, I use this GoPro. I like using this just to get unique perspective shots. It kind of fits where a lot of cameras wouldn't normally fit. This thing I think costs $300. This is the GoPro Hero 5. What's cool about this is it's got this LED screen on the back where you can kind of see what you're filming, which is a huge help. The audio on this is actually very, very good. This is what Jake, aka Keto Quad, uses for his vlogs. I'm currently trying to find a way to mount that thing on Paxton for the Paxton cam. But that is gonna be it, guys, for the rapid fire Q&A. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you get to understand me a little bit better through all of that. If I missed one of your questions or you're curious about more, hit me up in the comments section below. I'm gonna continue on with my day. It's gonna be super, super slammed. I promise you one thing. I will not put an ounce, a drop, a speck of sugar in my mouth today. I'm feeling really, really good, man. I'm telling you what, dude, kicking sugar is one of the best things ever. It's a huge eye-opener. Anyways, tomorrow, day 13, back to the regularly scheduled vlogs. As always, guys, keep up the good work and much love.